Here is a small gap that is easy to miss until it blocks you at the worst possible moment. iOS app in MyEuroStatApp builds, runs, and launches perfectly on a device or in the simulator, but it has no app icon at all. Assets.xcatets does not even exist yet. Xcode fills the gap with a blank placeholder, and that is fine for local development. It is not fine for App Store Connect, which flat out rejects any archive that ships without a valid app icon. In this commit, we add the modern single-size AppIcon asset catalog 1024 by 1024 PNG, no alpha channel, wired into project.yaml, and iOSApta.koji generated through Xcode Gen to pick it up. Small diff, real store requirements, and a good excuse to look at how Xcode Gen actually turns a YAML setting into project file structure. Older iOS projects needed a whole grid of icon sizes: iPhone, iPad, notification, settings, spotlight, each at 2x and 3x. Since Xcode 14, App Store Connect accepts a single universal entry at daten24, byten24, and Xcode derives every smaller size it needs at build and install time. That is exactly what this catalog does. One idiom, universal, one size, at daten24. The other hard requirement is no alpha channel. App Store Connect rejects icons with any transparency, since an icon is always composited onto an opaque background. The source here is fastlane/metadata/android/inus/images/icon.png, the existing 512 pixel store icon already used for Fastlane screenshots, which is already alpha free. It gets upscaled to 1024 by 1024 with zips and dropped in as AppIcon 1024.png. Swap in a native resolution source later. This unblocks the store requirement today. Every entry in an asset catalog needs a contents.json describing what is inside. This one lives at appicon.appicon./contents.json, and it is about as simple as this file format gets: one object in the images array, file name appicon.png, idiom universal, platform iOS, size daten24, iOS.png, idiom universal, platform iOS, size daten24 x daten10.4. The info block underneath just records author, Xcode, and version 1 boilerplates that every contents.json in an Xcode managed catalog carries. There is a second sibling contents.json one level up directly inside assets.xcatets itself, and it carries nothing but that same author and version info block. It exists purely because Xcode expects every xcatets folder to have one at its root. Two tiny JSON files and one PNG next to them is the entire catalog. The catalog on disk means nothing to Xcode until something tells the build settings where to find it. That something is access catalog, scompiler iwag, compiler nancer, AppIcon, added right alongside the existing product or bundleaga, edidx, even AppIcon, added right alongside the existing product or bundleaga, even AppIcon, product's name, and iOS/project even I. It sits inside the shared settings base block, so it applies to both the debug and release configurations in one line. No need to duplicate it. Notice what is not needed here. No explicit sources entry pointing at the xcsetset folder. Xcode Gen already scans the entire iOS app source path for anything it recognizes, asset catalogs included, so the folder is picked up automatically. The comment about Ephraim evoke fch/ch/phs and the Kotlin framework embedding right below this line is untouched. This commit only adds the one key. Project demo is the input. iosap.xcodeproject/project.pbxproject generated output, and this commit includes the regenerated diff, so you can see exactly what changed. A new PBX build file entry wires assets XP assets into the resources phase. A new PBX file reference declares XTB assets into the resources phase is.xcatalog, adds XT assets as a folder.asset catalog. It gets inserted into the iOS app group's children, right alongside content-view.swift and info.plist. The target's build phases array gains a third entry, a resources phase, sitting after compile Kotlin framework and sources. And the brand new PBX resources build phase section appears, listing assets outside XAppets in resources as its only file. All of this is purely additive. The compile Kotlin framework pre-build phase and the -l SQLDelight tree linkage from earlier episodes are untouched. You never hand edit this file, you edit project.eml and let Xcode generate produce this. The regeneration step itself is one command, already documented in iosapp/readme and the cd iosapp, then Xcode generate. The readme setup instructions already told you to run this after cloning. The new AppIcon section just adds a reminder that touching either the catalog or project.eml means running it again before the project file reflects your change. The readme also gets its file layout tree updated. Assets.xappets now appears listed under iOS app/iOS app/ next to iOS app.swift, content-view.swift, and info.pl's with a short note that it holds appicon.appicon/appicon-24 by 10d4, no alpha.conz/appi.tn6 file diff.png at .24, more alpha.conbtain, and generated project file both described 6 files, 51 lines, 1 binary PNG, that is the entire commit, 1 a 1024 by 1024, no alpha AppIcon 1.1024 but PNG upscaled from the existing Fastlane store icon. 2 contents.json manifests that describe the catalog to xcode.compiler xcommand, wired to both can build care eccodet compiler, wired to both configurations, a regenerated project by bxpro with a new resources build phase, purely additive to everything the Kotlin framework and SQLite linkage already depended on, and the README update so the next contributor knows where the icon lives and how to regenerate the project after touching it. iOS app can now actually be archived and submitted. Want to see this exact state in your own checkout? Run git checkout f2016 vc in the repo. Subscribe to keep building MyEuroStatApp with us, one real commit at a time.